What's going on, y'all? Research here, bringing you some S&D on Hanoi. Um, yeah, I'm gonna use this as a backdrop, basically per the normal. Rarely do I actually get into the gameplay too often. I'll tell you why I don't do that, just so you guys know. I don't really get into the gameplay too often as far as talking about it, because I feel like it's mostly self-explanatory. And for those of you that are this serious into Call of Duty to actually come onto YouTube to watch Call of Duty videos, are probably not going to learn a whole lot from me, maybe some new spots, things like that, but I don't think very many people that sub to my channel are brand new players to the series. So once that changes, I'll adjust, but until then, I will try and woo you with my analytical curse, if it were. Anyhow, what I want to bring up today, doing the series on Black Ops, the real Black Ops, and more so just when I say the real Black Ops, it's kind of a dramatic and theatrical title to a less than...
Good job, team. You ready for the next round?
This isn't really... I mean, Bay of Pigs isn't necessarily a Black Op, you know? I mean, we all know about it, so therefore it's probably not something that was black or covert. It was covert in nature until we all knew about it, but... It brings me on a passion that I have. It's not something that I've talked about a lot. It's certainly not something that I've really been engaging in as of late, but around the same time that I got involved in Call of Duty, I also found myself thinking a lot about the government, and more so just kind of, I guess, everything that happened to me over the course of that period of time really made me pessimistic to probably an unhealthy degree, but what it did bring to me was skepticism and criticism of establishments that have been in, I guess, operation for as long as I've been alive and well before my life and more than likely long after. But the establishment and the institution I think about mostly is actually our government. If I can share with you, there is an individual that is largely known in the, I guess, conspiracy world, but I don't like to think about it as conspiracy. I think that just kind of gives it a negative connotation. But what he talks about is, well, he talks about a lot of things. But more so, he talks about the inadequacies of our government, the fact that our government is essentially a puppet government, and that there are other powers that influence the decisions that our elected politicians make. Again, this is going to be an extremely brief overview, and I'd be more than happy to talk about more of it in depth, but I'd rather not have you guys hear me talk about it, because, in fact, this individual, and I will name his name, it's not as though this is some secret guy, his big thing is having you do your own research, right? Having you do your own investigating. Find out for yourself what's really happening. Don't take his word for it. It's obviously fruitless, right? We as individuals, as people, especially as critical thinkers, really want to experience these things for ourselves and on our own. We generally don't take other people's word for it. So this person's name is Alex Jones. He's a syndicated radio host out of Texas. And I was introduced to him somehow. It was kind of an odd situation, but I used to live in Uptown, Minneapolis, and for those who don't know the demographic of Uptown, Minneapolis, it's largely well, at one time it was largely populated by the Minneapolis art community. And typically, and I don't want to get into stereotypes too much, but typically when you talk about artists and that kind of thing, especially in a large concentration like that, you find a lot of very outside the box liberal thinking. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to bring any kind of party in this whatsoever, but that's really one of the larger aspects of it. And on the street corners down there, because a lot of times there's protests and things of that nature, and on the street corner down there one day, a guy handed me 2 DVDs. One was called Zeitgeist, which was essentially a debunking of the Christian religion as a whole, based on comparisons to other religions that existed before it and the similarities between Christianity and prior religions, based essentially off of the Egyptian hierarchy. And then it went on further to talk about 9/11 and all the conspiracy that surrounds that day in American history. So, and then the next DVD was something called The Obama Deception. And I don't want to bring that up in a sense that this guy's criticizing just Obama, because largely, I mean, he is criticizing the Obama administration and its ties to Wall Street, but he also was one of George Bush's most critical video makers that he had. So basically, and that's what I liked about him the most, was the fact that he did not engage, nor did he associate himself with any particular political party or sect, which, after I watched a lot of his stuff, after I've watched some other people's things, I've actually disengaged myself from political parties whatsoever. To me, in my opinion and estimation, they're both fucked. They're both out for themselves, and they aren't even in control. Maybe I can just share with you the webpage. It's called www.infowars.com. That's infowars.com. You can actually go on Google Video. All of his videos are actually free of charge. You can of course buy the DVD, which is essentially a donation to his webpage and to his radio show. Not that I ask you to do that, of course, right? This is just kind of just informing you about him and what he does. But he has some fantastic shows. One documentary is called Terror Storm. Another one is called, well, I named the Obama Deception. It's hard for me to say. I guess I can't remember all the titles. I used to watch them every single night, and you know, learning about things like he discusses the New World Order. Again, I hate throwing terms out like that because it automatically makes you think, oh my God, this guy's an uber Christian. This guy has zero affiliation with the religion whatsoever. I myself am not a religious person whatsoever. I sometimes believe in a higher power, and then sometimes I feel like I'm getting basically rammed in the ass. So, you know, I fluctuate, but I don't want you guys to think it's anything like that. But I guess what I'm trying to share with you is just an interest and a hobby that I have, something that I found extremely intriguing, something that answered a lot of questions that I had as to why things are the way they are. And if you're an open-minded person and not afraid to look into some of these things, and to see for yourself, make your own opinion. Maybe to you, what you see and read and hear, that's just not matching up with what your life experience tells you, and that's totally fair. You know, in no way, shape, or form are you required to feel the same way I do. The beauty of America, the beauty of why we live here is the fact that we all have the right to choose where we want to fall on the fence. And, you know, I embrace that on both sides. Never once will I ever judge anybody based on their opinion. Never will I judge someone based on what they view in life. Again, and obviously, Jesus, I got to come out and say this. I thought it was really impressive how passionate he feels about things and how he came out and said that exact same statement. And that really made me feel kind of more connected to him in the sense that what he says and the passion he has behind it is also brought forth with a level head, which really, to me, is the true essence of an analytical and intelligent and educated mind. So I'm done. Next commentary is about ghost hunting. Yes, I used to be a ghost hunter. I have a lot of stories to tell you about that. I'm going to bring that up next time. We're going to get everything out on the table. We're going to be honest with each other because we're all friends here, right? I love you guys. Any questions, post them in the comments. I love you guys. Research. Vamonos.